So for those of you who have been in FEMM for a bit, it's really important to start with what's working, what has worked. It's very easy to have high expectations because we set high standards for ourselves. I ask you to come here, and we talked about yesterday with these ladies, is to come here and set high standards for yourself, but also be forgiving to yourself that if you don't reach the exact goals you thought in the exact timeline, to not focus on that and put all attention on that, because that's not going to help you get to where you want to be. The truth is, we're building a foundation, and if you think about your clients, you think about, you know, the clients who come and work with you, whether you're in the financial world or if you are like Amy and you're working with kids who have behavioral issues, like, you know, if you think of the client standpoint, that sometimes they get results really, really quickly. Sometimes you're building the foundation, and it's like it's kind of like this. Where's that? Well, I'll just start it again. It's kind of like this. This is what I remember learning this actually from that guy I talked about yesterday, Keith Cunningham. And he would say that you start off like this, and then sometimes you start getting results right away. But then no matter what, if you even think of tennis, right? And I started learning tennis since last September. And when I first started, I mean, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't know how to hold the racket. I mean, I thought you just hold the racket. Like, I didn't think there's grips and stuff. Like, who knows? You just hold the racket, and there's a ball coming, and you freaking hit it across the net. You hit it over the net. You hit it over the net. And if you do that enough, you can win, right? So at first, I was like, got the racket, he told me a few things, I hit the ball, and I'm like starting to improve. I hit it over the net enough times, I'm not saying I won a lot, but I hit it over the net enough times, I felt like I was improving. And then he starts teaching you some stuff that's new, and he's like, actually, you need to move your hand. He goes, this is the, what is it called? Colonial grip? You guys know these things? I don't know, it's like the colonial grip. He actually did this one thing where we had to hold a pen like this, and essentially you want the pen to be straight for one grip, and it's like we were literally holding a pen while we were holding the racket, and then we had to do it so the pen was on the side, and then we're holding it like this, or maybe when we're doing a backhand, or when we're doing like up at the net doing a volley, and then when you're serving, you're holding it like this. And so there's like 4 different grips, and I was like, are you serious? So what's going to happen? I'm thinking about this grip, the ball's coming, and I'm like, you know, like, I don't know, the ball didn't even go over in the net, hits the net. He started trying to charge me every time I went into the net, by the way. That wasn't very fun. Cheap Chip did not like that game. He's like, that'll be $5, that'll be $5. And I never paid him, but it was a little ridiculous. But anyway, so now I'm trying another grip, and again, we're hitting ball after ball, and it's like, you know, oh, there's another one that sucks, sorry. Okay, you know, like, and I'm just missing and missing, you know, rackets everywhere, balls everywhere. And then I'm starting to be like, not only am I plateauing here, but I'm starting to get worse. I'm like, I was actually pretty good at this. I'm athletic, you know, give me a tennis racket, give me a ball. Like, I never played tennis before, but I'm pretty athletic. And so I was pretty good at first, and they started teaching me all this new shit, and I was getting worse. I'm like, dude, this sucks. Now, what if I quit right here? I give up, or I don't show up to tennis anymore because I'm like, this grip thing sucks. Or I can go back to the old way and be like, pretend I'm doing better. Old way. Calls, networking, this crap, not using my messaging, not asking for the sale, right? Not driving them, whatever it is. Not that this is an analogy or anything. But I can do it the old way and maybe get better, but then what's going to happen again? I could end up getting worse and worse and worse. Or what we call burnt out, right? So instead, I stuck with it. And then I started hitting balls, right? Okay, with this new grip, hit new balls with this new grip. Okay, cool. And I actually got it whoosh, straight over the net. That was good. Straight. Over the net. That was good. Oh, I even hit the pole. If I got paid to hit that pole, I never would have hit that. But what eventually happened is I went down, and then I started to improve, right? And then I'm getting good. And I'm like, damn, I'm pretty damn good at this. This is pretty awesome. And then he starts to teach me some new shit. What a jerk, right? And then I'm doing this wrong. I'm not moving my hips. And I realize there's this whole hip thing going on, right? And apparently, like, I was trying to, he tried to tell me at first, and the timing was all off. And I'm like, no, that's not it, you know. But he's like, no, you gotta move your hips, whatever. And then finally we do this thing, and he drops the ball in front of us, and it helps me move my hips, right? Helps me move my hips. But what happened here, I'd gotten better, but then again, I started to plateau, and then I started to get worse. But I start to change, do a new approach, change things, do differently, and I start to get better and better, better and better. And ultimately, I'm gonna be a pro, or not, probably not. But if I keep practicing, I can get better and better. But the expectation, again, in our hallucinated mind, if I would, is that we're just I'm gonna learn tennis, and then I'm gonna be good at it. And even if I'm not a pro, I'm going to be able to play with those people who are playing, you know, they're 70 years old and they're killing it, you know, and I'm like, damn you. They don't even run, and I'm like, they're like, damn it. And I'm like, ah, ah, and they're like, damn you. But at least I thought I could go to those courts where they're playing doubles and like hold my own. But I did not go like this. I will never go like this. That can never happen, not for even them, right? They took 30 years, and trust me, my coach will always say they're not doing it right. They're just basically doing it the way they've been doing it for 30 years, and they're pretty good at it, but they're usually not doing it right. I would rather do it right, but it's never going to go up in a straight line. Is this true? Yes. I get so winded with you guys. Okay, so some of you are coming, you're new, you're just trying this stuff, right? Now, the takeaway here is that you have to expect these dips. And I talked about this briefly yesterday. I guess there it is. Some of you can see that. But I also want you to know that, and this is what Keith Cunningham talked about, what happens with most people, he talked about this like using the analogy of like you're in a line at a, let's just say let's just use the cafeteria analogy, or you know those like when you go to a ski resort and they have several lines, right? Or even the supermarket, and you're like, okay, there are these lines. Which line? We're all going to try to get there the fastest, right? We're going to go in the shortest line. There's only 2 people here, and then you get in this line, and of course there are 3 people here, but for some reason this person is really faster and they're getting through, and you look over here and you're like, am I in the best line? You're like going for it, but you're like, they seem to be short. So then you get out of this line, you get in this line, and then all of a sudden this line is taking forever. You're like, damn, I should have just stayed in this line. But I didn't. I went to this line, and you're like, is that line faster? Right? And sometimes you keep moving. And so what a lot of people are doing in business is like they're getting to this point where they're 3 feet from gold, right? Or he talks about, and Tony Robbins talks about 2 millimeters. You're 2 millimeters away from getting everything you want. And you think that everything you want has to happen in your timeline. And trust me, knowing the story, as you guys know, about getting pregnant with my baby, like if I had it my way, I would have been pregnant in 2015. That's when we tried. That's when we thought we wanted to get pregnant. Actually, it was even before that when we first started trying, before we started all the fertility stuff. I would have been pregnant. And guess what? FEMM would not exist. FEMM would not exist. Just because the trajectory of my life would have changed. I would have been in baby land before there was any foundation for FEMM. The idea started even like right around when I thought I was going to get pregnant. I think it was like when we talked in April. I think April was the same month I didn't get pregnant. Like that was actually because then I went to Peru. So that means we were trying to get pregnant the year before and in January and all these things, and it just didn't happen, right? Had it happened, I promise you, FEMM would not exist. So even though the timeline that I wanted to get this result, I wanted to control it, I wanted to have my baby when I thought I was ready to have my baby, like it just didn't work out that way. So I could say, oh man, that really sucks. I didn't get what I wanted. I could have focused on what I didn't get, and instead I went to Peru and I had an awesome journey and awesome experience with my coach, and that was a really good turning point for me as well to start thinking about what I wanted in my life, not just my personal life, but also in my business. And all of those little things that happened, some were decisions, some were decided for me, but it didn't happen in the timeline I thought I wanted it to happen, and I got those results. But what's happening with you guys sometimes, you push, right? You get to this point where you're doing these things, okay? Let's talk about some of you who've been in FEMM for a while. And this is new. You're like, okay, now I have to do target marketing. You had the problem of attracting qualified leads before you came to me, and then Robyn says, target marketing. And then some sort of block, meaning something's holding you from getting everything you want the exact time you want. Okay, I'm just anticipating because nobody got this result. Nobody, not even Lisa Chastain, right? Nobody got this result. Everyone hit the swamp at some point. Everyone hit a point where it was difficult, but most people, they'll just get in another line. Oh, maybe I should do another business. Oh, maybe I should do it another way. Maybe I should look at that shiny penny and get another course, okay? And I know you got ClickFunnels. I'm good with that. It totally is in line. But if you did jump ship and you got a whole nother mastermind or something, that would be an issue. To buy a $100 course, I'm okay with. Okay, but sometimes we're looking for, some other solution. And it's right there. And some of those solutions will help you, but sometimes people start to go into another line, which actually brings them down here. And now to get back here, it's a much longer road. But instead, if we just push through, this is where the difficulty lies. This is where the stretching happens, is when you think it's not working, it's actually working. You think it's not working and you start to beat yourself up. You start to say, no, I'm not good enough. Oh, why didn't I do what I said I was going to do? Why didn't I show up? And you're looking in the past. You're giving yourself shit. You're telling yourself, like, I could have done better because you all took responsibility for it, and that is not serving you. But the thing is, you have no idea. Some people say you're 2 millimeters away, right? And 2 millimeters, and let's just use the same analogy with tennis. If I move my hand 2 millimeters different, it's the difference between me getting it over the court, me getting it into the net, me getting it off the court, or missing completely. 2 millimeters is a difference between you having the success and being able to break through that and stay in this line and keep getting results, or not. And this is the same thing I like to say, and this is a Think and Grow Rich thing, but you're 3 feet from gold. The way I know that is because if you just keep doing the right things, it doesn't mean you shift and you don't optimize. Obviously, you're in this program to shift and tweak and optimize. It's all about the tweaks and the optimization. We know that. But I want to make sure you guys realize and don't think when you think you're here, even if you got this result or you got this result, whatever, no one's backwards. No one's backwards. But I just know expectations. You guys think you have very high standards and that's why you're in this program. But the problem with having high standards sometimes is that you can't meet those and then you beat yourself up. If we instead have high standards and then accept sometimes we don't reach those goals and just know you're 3 feet from gold, or you just need to keep on pushing through and then you'll get to the other side. You keep on pushing through, and what most people do, they give up and now they have a longer way to road because they start in another path. You guys are on the right path. Okay, whether you're just starting or whether you've been in here for 5 months, you're on the right path. But please know, when it gets hard, that's a good sign. That means you're about to break through. That means you're about to have an epiphany or have a new experience or have some sort of reference. And if it doesn't work, cool, it's giving you some information of what you can shift. Okay? And that's why this program is designed implementation. This is why I keep telling you, show up, show up, show up. Ask me questions, even if you don't know what to ask. Because maybe something that's happening that's holding you back here, where you think it's a bad thing, and you think this is actually you not succeeding, is exactly what you need. That barrier is exactly what you need. And if you just tell me what that barrier is and I understand it, we just tweak it and jump right over it. But if you just try to figure it out, you just keep coming up against this wall, coming up against this wall. It's like you're trying to break through a brick wall and you haven't learned karate. Right? You actually learn, when you learn it, has anyone broken through like a brick, right? You got to look past it. If you look at that, so we do this at Tony Robbins' event, so you basically are looking at the board, you break a board, and if you look at it and you think about the barrier, you think about what's holding you back, you think about how you can't break through it, you won't break through it. It feels so heavy and you can hit it and you can hurt your wrist. But if you think past it, if instead of focusing on what's not working, instead of focusing on the barrier, instead of focusing on this brick that's in front of you or this wood or whatever it is, you focus on being passing, going through it and breaking through. Then it's like you break through, you look past it, you break through, and you go, it's like no effort at all. You just get in the right stance and poof, you break through the wall, or you break through the board, you break through the brick. I looked at these things, like I went to these events going like, I can't break through that shit. Like, no way. And he has you start focus on the analogy, the metaphor of what is that brick for you? What is that board for you? What is it that's holding you back that you keep focusing on, where you keep coming up against it, coming up against it, coming up against it, and you feel like you're getting knocked down. But it's because you're looking at this frickin' board, you're not looking past it. If you can just look past it, you can break through with ease, without effort. Sometimes what's on the other side is just us supporting you. Sometimes what's on the other side is just the belief or borrowing the belief that this can work. Sometimes what's on the other side is just a strategy that you haven't tried that you're like, oh, let me just try that and borrow the belief and have the faith that this will work and I can break.